We're out here in the field.
From all different parts of our V team.
In all sorts of places.
All around the world.
We are going to give you a whirlwind tour
of some of the great things we've accomplished this quarter.
Our global network and technology teams continue to show why we are the best there is. Our disaster response teams were there for hurricanes in the south, windstorms in the Midwest, and the fires out west. With Amazon Web Services, we launched Mech Hubs in Boston, the Bay Area, New York City, DC, and Atlanta. Innovators and business customers are already testing next-gen solutions, from fan experiences to industrial robots. We added to our impressive award-winning stakes. With Root Metrics for the 14th straight time, J.D. Power for a record 25th time in a row, OpenSignal for a 4th consecutive time. And our technology team won the Enterprise Architecture Award for the 2nd year in a row.
Our consumer group continues to meet the challenges of this new era. We keep evolving touchless retail, contactless purchasing, and curbside pickup. We launched a slew of really cool devices. From Samsung, the Galaxy Z Fold 2 5G, the Galaxy Note 20 5G series. From LG, the dual-screen LG Wing, and the new LG Velvet 5G Ultra Wideband. The Google Pixel 5 and Pixel 4a 5G Ultra Wideband. And the new Apple Watch Series 6. We offered Unlimited Plus, a new plan for laptops, hotspots, and tablets, and home broadband internet service over a 4G LTE network. We aired a new TechCoach commercial featuring our retail colleague, Sam Ace. With new mix and match offerings for wireless and Fios, we gave customers even more reasons to be on the most awarded networks. J.D. Power ranked Fios #1 for the East region for the 8th time in a row. And we announced plans to acquire TracFone, a major prepaid wireless provider.
For Verizon Business, this quarter was about helping businesses and the public sector around the world rebound and begin to reimagine their futures. We established Verizon Public Sector as a force for good and distance learning through our national program to provide reliable and affordable connectivity to more than 38 million students across 40 U.S. states and the District of Columbia. We partnered with Airtel India to bring BlueJeans' secure, world-class video conferencing solutions to businesses there. We were recognized by IDC, the premier global provider of market intelligence, as the leader in managed SD-WAN services worldwide for enterprise customers. ABI Research ranked Verizon Connect #1 for innovation globally for bringing AI, machine learning, computer vision, and IoT together for fleet management. At this year's Indy 500, we brought the trackside feeling to life with cars racing by at over 200 miles per hour using 5G and a special 360 camera. The National Hockey League tapped us as their official 5G partner with the mission to bring 5G and MEC innovations to U.S. arenas. And IBM, another best-in-class partner, joined us to provide 5G MEC solutions that will be multi-cloud ready, secured, and scalable.
Our Verizon Media Group continued to launch immersive and content experiences for advertisers and consumers that will benefit from Verizon's 5G capabilities.
And we kicked it off with the NFL. Our new Yahoo Sports app feature, Watch Together, is a co-viewing experience that enables NFL fans to video chat on their phones with friends while watching live local and primetime games. We also launched Play AR, an augmented reality experience, which gives 3D replays in real time, including 360-degree views for some plays and player and ball tracking information on screen. Fios and Dish chose us as their preferred demand-side platform, expanding our household addressable inventory. Partnerships with Dish as well as Samsung show our strength in emerging formats that will benefit from 5G, where we have an advantage over other players. We accelerated our ad strategy by successfully migrating all Microsoft inventory on AT&T Xandr in top global markets to our Verizon Media exchanges. This includes inventory management, data activation integration with our DSP, and access to new native formats in emerging channels, all of which create stronger revenue opportunities. In addition to enabling Microsoft to maximize monetization, we're also providing ever greater direct access to premium video and display inventory for our more than 700 advertising agency and DSP partners.
What a quarter it's been for our culture. Forbes named us one of the best employers for women. Working Mother named us one of the 100 best companies and one of the 100 best companies for dads. 115,000 of us answered the VZ Pulse Plus survey. We joined the Valuable 500, a coalition of the world's largest businesses dedicated to driving greater disability inclusion. We became the first U.S. telecommunication company to issue a second green bond. We launched Citizen Verizon, our responsible business plan to address critical societal needs like digital inclusion, human prosperity, and climate protection. 24,000 of us participated in the virtual March on Washington. We expanded our Verizon Innovative Learning Schools program to include high schoolers and added more middle schools for a total of 254. We celebrated Hispanic Heritage Month and, as part of that, teamed up with the Paley Center and Univision's Euphoria for some unique cultural events. We rolled out our Next 20 series, featuring influential activists and visionaries. And we premiered the Speed of Thought 5G documentary to help viewers everywhere envision the awesome future we are helping to build.
We just had a third quarter like no other.
And fourth quarter has started out with a bang.
We're already making headlines.
The best partners.
The best networks.
It's all about moving the world forward. Together.
I'm sure all of you are clapping at home. We would all be clapping together if we were together, but we are together virtually. Welcome to Up to Speed Live, our 3Q results edition. And what you saw there is one of the biggest reasons why that we are continuing to succeed in 2020 in 3Q. If you're watching on Twitter, on Periscope, you know I love the hearts. Lots of hearts popping, lots of comments. Please continue interacting as we begin the show here. But let's talk about our 3Q results. This year has been a challenge. But we are continuing to step up, and you're going to hear throughout the next hour here what you are doing, what our leaders are doing to make sure that we finish the fourth quarter strong as well. And a shout out, of course, to our frontline employees who were featured in that video. We're going to be speaking to more frontline employees as well as we think about all the contributions they've made as we continue to make sure that we move forward together. So with that, let's send it over to Hans with an exciting day. Lots to talk about, lots to really go through, and of course we'll be talking about dinner tables soon later in the show. But Hans, welcome and congrats on another great third quarter.
Thank you, Andy. I think this is the longest video ever to summarize what we've done in one quarter. It's just amazing to see how much we have done. I was standing here and looking at it, and it reminded me of things that I had forgotten. Let me start by saying that this is, of course, something extraordinary what we have done in the third quarter. And I just want to bring you back to I think it was the 5th of January or something like that, when we had our kickoff. We talked about this year as a super execution year, and the second half we're going to have so many things happening. I mean, in the third quarter, it just exploded. I mean, all the way from what we're doing with the network to the monetization opportunities with mobile edge compute, with the potential with the mobility, with the iPhone and the 5G home coming out, and then, of course, all the business as usual. And in all that, we need to remind ourselves, all V-teamers, we also have an extremely tough situation around us. The pandemic is still very, very vivid all around us, here in the US, in the rest of the world. We have an economic downturn and of course, the racial injustice at the same time. And we are navigating all that and executing. I think it's just fantastic. And ultimately, being able to deliver the financial results that Matt will talk about a little bit later on. But let me bring you back to a couple of things that I think was so important this quarter. First of all, the safety and health of our employees is so important. I mean, we have gradually come back to 100% in the stores. Our field engineers has been out installing more Fios than we've done in 6 years. It was a record quarter for Fios this quarter, and all contributed to a great cruise in the field. At the same time, of course, the stores are coming back. So I couldn't thank you more for what you're doing for the company and seeing that our customers are really getting what they're supposed to get from us. And as many of you know, our customer satisfaction is actually going up, and I'm really pleased with that, and I know that there are so many of you being part of making that experience for our customers. A couple of other things when it comes to what we have done in the in the area of responsible business, which is important to us. I mean, I think the green bond is very important. We have talked about that. We have also talked about, we gave out the diversity report in the third quarter in order to be transparent where we are with diversity and inclusion. You know how important that is to me and the whole executive team, and it's a core value and a strategic pillar for us. There are areas we can do better, but there's areas also we have done quite a lot of progress, but we're not done, and we will continue to work with all the leaders and seeing that we continue to be a very strong, diverse organization that actually will make better business decisions. So that aside, then I look into the execution, and I will not go into everything we have done on the network side, but it's just amazing how much we have done. The nationwide, 55 cities of ultra-wideband, the fiber footprint, and then of course, winning all the awards. It's like, you know, we have won the Super Bowl 15 times in a row. That's what we're doing with J.D. Powers and RootMetrics. It's just outstanding to be doing that. So I cannot thank that team enough. But now we're sort of putting our business units in a position to start to monetizing this, because we are going for the growth, and that's we're geared for. And you can see we have the mobility case where Ronan and Tammy need to rally around that, and together with Guru and his team doing applications for 5G, which is so exciting. Maybe you have checked out some of the new 5G applications, but I think they're super cool. I mean, the Super Stadium app that is built by Verizon Media Group, for example, is a great add on to what we have. And then, of course, the 5G Home, which is also open up totally new opportunities for monetization. And the 5G Mobile Edge Compute, where we now have 5 centers with Amazon, and Tammy and the team are driving customer interaction on that. And we also signed up Microsoft to start doing private 5G Mobile Edge Compute with them. So we're rallied the whole ecosystems. And of course, the iPhone event recently was also great. Coming back to more what I can say about the result. I mean, first of all, we saw a gradual improvement in third quarter, and I just want you to watch out for your unit leaders. We'll have videos coming up in the beginning of next week when it comes to where we are on SDI. I can tell you all units moved upwards on our SDI, and good performance in third quarter. But remember, fourth quarter is still there, and we can do a lot when it comes to that. Finally, I just want to mention a little bit around the working that the executive team is doing. We continue to monitor the situation, what's happening around us, the return to office and all of that. We have the same sort of guidance as we have had for quite a while, but I can tell you we're working vividly to see what is the enterprise for the future. We're not ready with that because there's so many things changing in our landscape, but rest assured that we are spending a lot of time thinking about what will be the best setup when all this is over, when we are in new normal or the better normal, whatever you would call it, which will take some time. But we will come back when we're ready with that, and we spend a lot of time with that. With that, Andy, I'm going to hand it over to Matt that is here, you know, because we had our earnings call today, and he's going to drill down a little bit more in the financials. Is that okay, Andy?
That sounds great with me, Hans. And of course, we'll have all of our other leaders on standby to talk more about earnings. But let's get to those financial results and send it on over to Matt.
Matt, I move out.
All right. Thank you, Hans. And good afternoon, everyone. So, look, third quarter was a really good set of results, and we had those results because of all the actions that all of you have been taking, not just in the quarter, but for a number of years now. So a number of things as I look at the third quarter that were really, really good, and I'll start with wireless. When you look at that, we got back to service revenue growth in the third quarter faster than expected. We expected it to be another quarter before we got there, but that came through in the third quarter, and it came from both consumer and from business. And business really had some great growth in the quarter in wireless, driven by a lot of volumes from public sector as they really engaged with their partners in local government, the educational sector, and really being the partner of choice at this time. And then on the consumer side, we saw the impact of the launch of the latest version of Mix and Match, which we launched in August, giving us the opportunity to get more customers on our unlimited plans and stepping them up to those higher tiers where there's even more value for them. So a lot of great activity there, helped drive wireless. And then in Fios, we had our best quarter in almost 6 years with 144,000 internet net adds as customers see obviously the best wired home broadband product. And we combined that with the Mix and Match construct that we brought into Fios earlier in this year. And we saw great results, especially with our teams getting back out in the field, getting into customers' homes and turning those connections on. So great results in Fios. And then on the media side, significant improvement on the revenue quarter over quarter. We ended second quarter down 19% year over year in June. That improved throughout the third quarter and only down 2% in the month of September, and a 21% sequential increase in media revenues during from 3Q versus 2Q. So a lot of good stuff going on across all parts of the business. And I'd be remiss if I didn't speak about something happening in the finance organization. During the course of the quarter, while everyone's still working from home, we launched a new what we call One ERP, our next generation ledger system. So fantastic work across the finance organization with our partners in IT or GTS and elsewhere across the organization. So very, very, very proud of them as well. So let's look at the numbers. You see on the slide there, revenue was down 4.1% overall. And what you see in there is equipment revenue was down almost 20%. And some of this was because of the lower foot traffic as we're still dealing with the pandemic, but also the timing change from the launch of the iPhone this year in October, in last year, and most prior years is in September. So normally we have some new iPhone volumes in 3Q. This year, obviously we didn't. That played into it. But as I spoke about, the service revenue, very good in the quarter there and building momentum as we go into the fourth quarter. Our consolidated EBITDA, that's our earnings before interest, taxes, and depreciation, $11.9 billion versus $12.0 a year ago, down slightly, but that has all the COVID impacts in there. And speaking of the COVID impacts, when you look at our adjusted earnings per share, this is with all of our expenses, including taxes and interest and everything else, $1.25 this year, $1.25 last year, and the number this year includes 5 cents of pressure related to COVID. So the underlying business doing incredibly well. And then you see the year-to-date free cash flow up 27% year over year. Some one-timers this year and last year, but that's really driven by, again, the ongoing strength within the business. So when you take those third quarter results and you add it into some of the new stuff that we have in fourth quarter, and we saw a number of those things last week with the iPhone supporting millimeter wave in all 4 devices, the launch of our nationwide 5G network, and a host of other things. A lot of good momentum coming into the fourth quarter allowed us to raise guidance for the rest of the year on where we expect our earnings to be based off that strength in the business. And so, we're in that position because of all the hard work that the teams have done, and we're now able to talk a lot more positively about where we see the trajectory of the business. So given that, you may be asking, that sounds great, Matt, so why is the stock down today? And what I tell you is the feedback from investors is your business is performing really, really well, actually better than we thought it would be at this point. But what we also see in the promotions that have come out in the last week, they got concerned around what they call an industry price war. And are they concerned total profitability within our industry is going to be hit? We're very comfortable with our approach to the marketplace in the fourth quarter. We think you take the combination of the best network, bringing the best devices, and having the fantastic customer propositions we have is a great combination, and we're going to be very successful with that. So let's not be distracted by some of those external concerns. The best thing we can do is stay very focused on our game. We have a great strategy. We're executing it well. We keep doing that, and things will take care of themselves in the stock price. So thank you again for a great third quarter. Let's finish the year strong and have a very aggressive fourth quarter here, and then we'll be in a great position as we jump off into 2021. So with that, Andy, I'll hand it back to you.
Matt, thank you so much for guiding us through the nuances of our financial results. And as you mentioned, we stick to our plan, we stick to what we're setting out to do, and success will follow. A big part of that success, of course, are the people that you saw in that opening video, our frontline employees. And you saw all of them wearing masks, making sure they're demonstrating proper social distancing and staying safe but we want to know more behind that mask. We want to know how we can better support our teammates who are on the front lines. And with that, we have a call for kindness. And with that, we will send it on over to Krista Bourne, who will walk us through what this new call for kindness is all about. Krista?
All right. Thank you, Andy. And you said it. It is all about kindness and thinking about those folks that are on the front line. So nothing gives us greater pride than serving our customers. And we do this, with great pride over the networks that we have provided to communities and businesses that keep them moving forward in these very challenging times. And as we think about the hectic time ahead of us, as we move into the busy holiday selling season, we want to make sure that we do our part to set the tone. As one team, our initiative has been to really be very customer focused. And we want to make sure that we do that with kindness in mind. And because we're focused on keeping everyone safe, our employees, our customers, we are wearing face coverings, and we will continue to do so as we move through the pandemic. But with that face covering, while it does provide us with great safety, it does not allow you to easily see the smiles behind the mask. And so there is our new campaign, A Call for Kindness. It's a way to say thank you to the many customers who've been supportive in understanding the procedures we've put in place to make sure that we can serve them safely and we can keep our employees safe. And that kind of kindness is appreciated and always welcome in our stores. It's also a reminder to you, our employees, that you are our family. And while a mask covers our face, there is a real person behind that mask. We are mothers, fathers, daughters, grandparents, sons, partners, brothers, sisters, friends. We are people. And we want to remind everyone that walks into our stores that we expect them to treat our family like they would treat their favorite family member. And we will do the same. And as a part of our campaign, we're hoping to bring other retailers along this journey with us. We'd like them to join in and be a part of this movement so that we can support the frontline employees that are making it possible for us to get the goods and services that we all depend on. As part of this campaign, you're going to see some familiar faces, some videos online, some signage in stores, and we hope that it brings a smile to your face, because it is important that we demonstrate the kindness that we expect. And I think there's a great way to show you that with a little sneak peek of a video. So let's roll the video.
I'm a FiOS tech. I'm coming up on 25 years of service. When the pandemic hit, it became even more important for people to stay connected.
I have an 8-year-old daughter, and she's the love of my life. She just started 3rd grade remote learning, so that's been fun.
I was born in Afghanistan, but I was raised in India. That was such a challenge for my parents to migrate, and I moved to the United States in 2012 in December.
I'm a very family-oriented guy. During these tough times, I lost a family member to COVID-19.
The face mask is a challenge. It's hard for my customers to see me smiling.
It's always important to be empathetic during these times.
They needed a fast, reliable network. And of course, we were there.
Everyone's situation is different, but we're all experiencing the same emotions. So it's just really important to be kind to each other, because we never know what someone is going through.
I love those videos. I think that it's a great reminder to us, again, that we are all people. And I love the statement that we are all in a situation. We all have a story. We all have things going on. But respectfully, we can't see the smile behind the mask, and we don't always know the story. What we can count on, though, is kindness. We can deliver kindness. We should receive kindness in return. And we know that we as an industry leader can set the tone for the season, lead the agenda, and bring other frontline workers and employees and businesses with us on this journey. So we hope that this will go viral. We ask that you do your part to share with others. And please, please look for the videos. Make sure you support your colleagues. And remember, kindness is something we all can give. Back to you, Andy.
It's a wonderful thing, Krista, and that kindness is continuing instantaneously here. The hearts are popping, lots of great comments. Alex, I see your comment here. She calls this a movement, and it'll help create an exquisite experience, customers and employees. So, Krista, thank you so much for leading the way on that. I'm looking forward to more and more kindness, not only among our V team, but for our customers as well, because as many of you are pointing out right now, you just don't know what people are going through, and a little bit of that kindness will go a long way. So looking forward to that. Let's keep the love and the kindness moving here. We're going to send it on over to Kyle as we begin our Credo Award recognition. Hey, Kyle.
Hey, Andy. Good to be with you. And I'm honored to be here on behalf of the VLC and Hans to talk about the Credo Award winner.
Fantastic.
I'm really, really pleased to announce that we're going to do something a little different. Sometimes we do individuals, sometimes we do little teams. This time it's going to be a massive team shout out to all those involved in GN&T in the deployment of 5G. And I'll tell you, when we were thinking about what recognition to give in this quarter, I think this was the hardest quarter ever that we've had. I mean, literally, there's been like 50 things that either individuals or teams have done this quarter to bring great things to our customers or help society and do whatever. So it was very, very challenging. But at the end of the day, we decided the teamwork and the folks putting the 5G network was something that we were going to call out. Specifically, let's face it, 5G just got real. And this is a watershed moment for the industry because this is going to set the stage for how wireless plays out and the industry plays out for the next decade. And because of our great teams putting this technology out, developing it, we're super proud, and that's where the Credo is going to go. And then there's a reason that it's going to so many people. It's going to thousands, frankly, because if you think about what something like this takes, many people might not know, it starts years and years ago with a bunch of our network planners thinking about where the technology is going to go. And then as standards evolve and we figure out the technology bits, or at least we think we do. We work with partners, we get them on board, we influence the industry. Then it goes to the engineering teams, and they have to go out and, place fiber and get real estate so we could put antennas up. The operations folks need to build the core networks and make sure they work. They need to, our assurance folks need to make sure it all gets integrated properly. Our network systems teams need systems and processes set up so we can do this efficiently and we can measure it. We can understand how it works. We can improve it. We have the labs coming up with new things. So you just can't. And then you have our device technology people, our device marketing people, everybody involved. There's just way too many people involved. And what's amazing is you can have a huge team like this with high performing individuals operate like a high performing team because everybody knows what they're supposed to do, and they go do it with great pride. And so on behalf of the GN&T team and the VLC, I'm humbled to announce the Credo winner for this quarter.
Fantastic, Kyle. Thank you so much. And yes, we're all clapping at home, and send those clap emojis on Twitter, send those hearts on Periscope, and congratulations, of course, to everyone involved in making sure that 5G, yes, just got real. So Kyle, thank you so much for delivering our Credo Award recognition. With that, we're going to get into our Q&A. And, as with any virtual event, we've gotten pretty good at this, but there's still, sometimes you got to figure out, okay, how do we make this work? And we are going to keep it very interactive. We have a fantastic panel of our Q&A V-teamers who are here today, and we're going to showcase them, and they're on screen right now. So V-teamers who are asking questions, give us a wave there. A lot of them are on the front line. Thank you so much for making sure our customers come first. So leaders, we are going to direct questions over to you. And for our folks on the panel, when you hear your name and get ready to ask those questions, make sure you hit unmute on your microphones. But let's get started. We've got a lot of questions here, and we want to get to all of them. So with that, we are going to begin with Amber. And it looks like this question, we're going to start off with Hans here. And Amber is, I'm sure she can explain better, but she is in Minot, North Dakota, on the VCG side, indirect sales. But Amber, you mentioned middle of nowhere, but, and I'll let you finish the second half. Go ahead, Amber.
Not the middle of nowhere, Andy, the middle of everywhere.
The middle of everywhere. All right. So straight from Minot, North Dakota, the middle of everywhere. Amber, what's your question for Hans?
As Verizon continues to lead the industry in innovation, our competitors attempt to catch us in areas like 5G. How do you see Verizon's investment in 5G pushing us forward beyond what our competitors offer as we further transform into a digital technology company?
Amber, thank you.
Thank you very much. It's a good question. I think that how we try to differentiate with the competition is, of course, building the ultra-wideband. That's so different than anybody else has in the market. And I think that all the reviews when people are getting ultra-wideband is so superior to anything else. And of course, the network team that Kyle talked about, they are just building out so much. And I can tell you, the last 2 months, we built more ultra-wideband sites than we did in whole 2019. That's the pace that that team is on right now. So we're going to get more and more footprint on ultra-wideband. So that's a key differentiator. The other key differentiator is that we have the best 4G network. So if you combine that and then together with what the consumer unit is doing for our consumers with Mix and Match, I think we have an unparalleled offering that's going to carry us through the 4G era to the leader in the 5G era as well. I'm confident that Ronan, Tammy, Guru, and Kyle have that together with me to see that we continue to lead. So it's a great question, and we're fighting every day to have a leadership and a leader lead the market, and I think we really are doing it. And if you look the last 2 weeks, it's a lot of leadership in 5G.
Hans, thank you very much. And Amber, thank you for that question and getting lots of love for North Dakota on Periscope there. So next, you know what? We're gonna keep it international. You know, we're all over the globe. We're gonna head on over to Sweden here, and I believe this question can go to Tammy. This is from Dahlia, a client partner on the VBG side there. So all the way from Sweden, Dahlia, if you're there, how are you? And give us your question for Tammy.
Oh, great. Thanks a lot. Great to be here, Andy. And good morning, Tammy. So my question really is related to the announcement that was made on private 5G yesterday. Now, assuming we can't own 5G spectrum outside of the US, how can we secure we capitalize on 5G in the international market while we are able to create a global ecosystem for Industry 4.0 and 5G?
Dahlia, thank you very much for that question. And if I'm watching my clock properly, it's dinner time in Sweden. So thank you very much for giving up your dinner time to join us for Up to Speed. You know, the opportunity to really scale 5G and our 5G leadership and expertise and experience to deliver global solutions has never been more important than it is today. You know, we look at how businesses are thinking about digital transformation and the acceleration of digital transformation. As we've talked about, they view 5G as critical to unlocking that value. One of the things that we've done with the announcement of 5G mobile edge compute, first with AWS and then this week with Azure, is build out a future forums organization that allows us to really create interoperability and define how we can create those use cases as global use cases that are delivered for customers as they think about B2B and B2B2C use cases. Because what we know is 70% of our businesses are multinational. They want solutions that scale the world. Yesterday, when we did our international news conference to talk about 5G private networks and our partnership with Nokia, we hosted that in the morning in EMEA, and we had over 1,000 people that joined that call to hear what we're doing in 5G because they understand our expertise, they understand our experience, and they understand our 5G global leadership. The most important thing we can do as Verizon business team members right now is to make sure we understand 5G, the unique characteristics of what we're building, our ability to build platforms and solutions that scale worldwide, and then really position those solutions for our customers. So Dahlia, thank you for the question, and a big thank you to the entire V team for the incredible quarter that we've just delivered in third quarter. And, you know, Krista, I think about your call for kindness. If there's ever been a year, if there's ever been a quarter where kindness was required around the world, it is this quarter and this year. Thank you, Dahlia. Thank you for everything you do. Andy, back to you.
Tammy, thank you very much, and thank you to Dahlia. And I echo those thoughts about Krista and those calls for kindness. And kindness is certainly something that can move around the world very quickly there. Dahlia, thank you. So we're now going to head over on the consumer side here. We have a taped question. This is actually from last week. I was having a conversation with our V-teamers at our downtown store, Magmile. And it just randomly, this question randomly came up. And I said, well, Bree, why don't you just ask this question for Ronan? And we'll just record it. So here's Bree from our Chicago store, a solution specialist. Let's roll that question for Ronan.
Hi, my name is Bree, and my question is about the upcoming holiday season. We just announced Verizon's 5G nationwide coverage. So exciting. And also the new 5G iPhone. But we are still in the pandemic. How do we see ourselves conducting business with our customers during this holiday season? Thank you for taking my question.
And there's the question for you, Ronan. Go ahead.
Hey, well, first of all, thank you, Bree, and thank you, Andy. So it's a great question. It gives me an opportunity just to share a little bit about the underpinning for the iPhone launch this year. You know, a shout out to the network team that Kyle did, but I also want to shout out to the GTS team because we've built our new North Star architecture so that we've been able to deliver a great outcome and experience for customers in record numbers as they've expressed interest in the new iPhones. So how are we going to make sure that we show up in this pandemic world? Well, we've innovated, whether it be touchless retail, but also we've been actually giving video sales support for the first time at this iPhone launch. So building new GTS capabilities that support our front line to be able to give great experience to customers. So really it's about humanizing digital and this merging, as I've said before, the phygital, this physical and digital coming together. And what we want to make sure is that our customers understand why Verizon and why 5G, and what a better way of doing that than being able to launch our 5G millimeter wave to new cities and stadia and airports, and then to a launch 5G nationwide. So really, for everyone, for Bree and everyone who's on the front line, the great news is we have the most compelling story we ever had, coupled with the most compelling set of propositions that we've ever delivered. We didn't just do Mix and Match 3.0. We've also refreshed all of our metered plans, all of our prepaid plans, and all of our connected devices plans. So I think we're really well positioned to not just meet, but actually exceed customer expectations in Q4, building on the tremendous NPS improvement we've seen quarter over quarter throughout this year. And if I think, just to add in, the performance in our Fios business recently, and a huge shout out to everybody involved, you know, this is the best we've done for 5 years. And what it demonstrates is that people really value our network. So whether it be our Fios network, whether it be our 4G LTE network or our 5G network, we have the best-in-class assets that customers truly value. So Bree, go, and to quote Tammy, go fight win in Q4, and let's build that momentum on behalf of customers. Thank you for the question, and back to Andy.
Thank you, Ronan, and thank you to Bree. And yes, a position of strength and really an exciting time as we come into a very important fourth quarter here. Ronan, thank you. Let's stay on the topic of holiday and let's talk about some of that messaging. Tammy showed it off, and Diego will be as well. But this question here, let's take it to Diego. And while some of us are layering up and I don't know, dare I say freezing, we're going to head on over to Chandler, Arizona, and we've got Tanya here, a customer service rep, who's got a question for Diego. Tanya, how are you?
I'm good. Hey, V-Team. Thank you for having me, Andy. So my question is, Verizon played a key role in last week's Apple announcement, which gave us huge momentum into the holiday season. What can you tell us about how we plan to keep that momentum in the coming weeks?
Great. Well, thank you, Tanya, for the question. It's great to be here. And there's no doubt last week was huge. And I tell you, I'm still in awe of what the team pulled off. And a huge thanks to all the marketers in the company that really drove, I think, as I said last week, the biggest launch that we ever did. So let me break the answer in three pieces. First of all, we're going to continue being very, very loud from now until the end of the year and then in Q1 across all channels, TV, PR, digital, content for businesses and influencers, and a lot of new announcements as well, so we can continue that momentum. Second, and most importantly, a lot of the work that you're going to see coming in the marketplace is about continue to launch experiences that bring to life what 5G can do for both consumers and for businesses. And I give you a few that are coming in the next few days. Tomorrow, we are launching the first competition of mobile gaming for League of Legends, their new mobile game, which is Wild Rift. We're going to have 30 gamers battling it out on 5G and on the iPhone. So if you follow Twitch, you are going to be able to watch it there. So very, very exciting. Second, the 5G NFL Super Stadium app is launching on Sunday, so it will be kind of available. So if you follow games, you're going to be able to really get the amazing functionality if you're a fan and experience the games in a new, different way. And then for business in particular, there's a lot of talk, and some of you have talked about mobile edge computing. That will be a huge focus for us in terms of how do we market 5G with new partnerships, new applications, and new markets as well. So we're just getting started. The next few weeks are going to be critical for the holiday season, as you mentioned, in terms of the sales. But I will tell you, in terms of 5G, the next 6 months are going to be critical. It's the new battleground for mind share and for also market share. So our competitors are out of the way, so we can lose that battle. And because 5G will change everything, 5G built right, it has to be built right. That's going to be our positioning. And you're going to see our marketing being more and more anchored on 5G as the key differentiator for the brand. Thank you for the question. And back to you, Andy.
Diego, thank you. And Tanya, thank you very much for that question, and really a great way to continue strengthening our message and our position of strength there. Diego, thank you. Let's get to the, you talked about our gaming partnerships, but let's just talk about partnerships in general here and head over to our VMG side. So this question is for Guru, and this is from Caitlin. And Caitlin, I know that perhaps Minot, North Dakota is the center of everything, but maybe Omaha wants to say a little something about that. So all the way from Omaha, Nebraska, Caitlin, take it away.
Hi, Andy. Thanks for having me, and hello, Guru. Partnerships like the ones we have with the NFL and the New York Times play a key role in driving our business forward. How are you thinking about partnership opportunities that fully leverage the power of Verizon Media's ecosystem?
Hey, thanks, Andy, and thanks, Caitlin, for the question. I love Omaha, so I miss being there. I used to travel there a lot, so hopefully soon. First of all, I want to congratulate what Hans and Matt echoed, the entire V team for Q3, for all the hard work. Really grateful to see the progress, and also thank the Kyle and GNT team for winning the Credo Award, but the amazing work they put in on 5G and where we are headed. And of course, Krista, love the call for kindness. And as you said, let's all demonstrate the kindness we expect. Now, Caitlin, to your question on partnership, our approach to partnership is fairly simple. It's very, very customer centric, something we set as our 2.0 and when Hans said the organization. And what does it mean when we think about Verizon Media? We always bring, it normally spans across content, commerce, advertising, and the power of 5G, which for us is the AR, VR experience, if you will. Now, the process of bringing all this together as Verizon ecosystem, the way I think about it is three-step process. The first one is input. When you think about the input, you start with the customer. What is the customer looking for in terms of growth? What are the expectations? And what is the value system that matches Verizon and the partner, and then Verizon Media where it fits in? And the second part of the input is, what do we bring to the table? When you think about Verizon Media in this case, we bring 900 million monthly active users. We bring the power of an omni-channel ad platform, the power of the best streaming platform, and then the O&O assets that we have across Yahoo, TechCrunch, and others. And then the 5G platform in terms of building applications as you think about AR and VR. All that comes together, that's your first step. The magic is in the middle, how we execute together. And that's the execution phase. And then the third step is the output. And a great example, I think we've all been talking about, you just heard from Diego, Ronan, Tammy, and of course Hans up front about the Apple partnership. A lot of that started, again, the vision that Hans set up with Tim Cook at Apple, coming together as a partner. We all came back and said, what is the vision? Where do we want to head? What do we bring as Verizon Media in this case is the power of 5G application as you think about AR, VR. So that's what the Super Stadium app is. And I'm hoping, as Diego mentioned, a lot of you use that this Sunday and give us feedback. And I'm hoping, we continue to scale that. So that's how partnerships work. And it's amazing to see how we all bring our strengths together, because that's what creates a lot of unique value prop. And as I think about Q4, again, we need to keep pushing. There are a lot more amazing partnerships lined up, similar to what you just heard, and a lot more execution we're doing. A massive shout out again to Verizon Media for Q3, as you heard from Matt about the sequential growth of 21% from Q2. Let's keep the momentum to the entire Verizon and make sure we make Q4 massively count. So thank you, Caitlin, again, and back to you, Andy.
Thank you very much, Guru, and thank you to your team for creating and really changing the game. I mean, literally changing the game as far as viewership goes for football and so many other great experiences. Congratulations to you and the entire Verizon Media team there. And thank you, Caitlin. Lots of love on the chat for Omaha as well. So let's head to Kyle now next. We have a pre-taped question. This is from Steven with a question that I think a lot of people are asking about and really thinking about when it comes to fixed offerings for 5G. So let's go ahead and roll that question.
Hi, I'm Steven from the Brockton, Mass. Construction Garage. My question is it possible to vastly increase 5G fixed offerings in cities and towns that are not Fios available? There seems to be value and demand for streaming data only, without the need for the antiquated paid cable offering. I look forward to hearing your answer. Thank you.
All right. Well, I got this one, Andy. So, Steven, thanks for the question. Actually, first, I'd shout out to you and your colleagues for the great quarter with Fios. You guys crushed it. As you've heard, it's the best quarter we've had in a long, long time. And frankly, it's really people running to quality, the way we look at it. Now that, people need to rely on their broadband more and more, they're running to our service that has great not only download speeds but upload speeds as well, and people are running to it. So thank you for all the work to get new customers hooked up. In terms of your question, yeah, absolutely. The game plan is we go harder and harder and more broadly with our fixed wireless access offering. Before we really couldn't do much with it because of maybe limited bandwidth that we were using for mobility. But because of the massive amount of bandwidth we have in millimeter wave and the great speeds we can do with it, we just see, this is just the beginning. As you might have heard before, we have some new CPE, some more higher powered CPE that's going to make the system really hum. The teams have done a great job in the consumer group and GTS, figuring out tools to make it an easy installation. So it should be, our customers are going to want this. It's going to be easy to install. They'll have, very high speed rates, low latencies, and, we just think it's going to get better from here. So early days, but we've learned a lot in the past year and a half or so in some of our initial cities, and we're just looking for great things for this as we move forward.
Kyle, thank you. The way we've been able to connect folks in different ways, just amazing. And congratulations again to you and your team. And of course, Steven, thank you very much for your question there. So let's head over to New York now. This question, let's send it over to Craig. This is, of course, we are getting very close to election season. And Ali here has a very interesting question here for Craig. So let's go ahead and roll that question.
This is Ali Rayo. I'm a CSSC rep in Valhalla, New York. Who would be better for POTUS for Verizon? Would it be President Trump getting reelected, or would it be Joe Biden winning?
Ali, thank you. We'll send it on over to Craig there for that very topical question. Hey, Craig.
Very topical indeed, Andy. Great to see you. And thanks for the question, Ali. Thanks for the question. And just for those who aren't familiar with the abbreviations, POTUS stands for President of the United States. So as you said, Andy, and as Ollie said, we're in election season. For those in the U.S., Election Day is 13 days from now, but in fact, we're right in the middle of it. About 30 million votes have already been cast, so we're very much in the middle of election season. So the first thing I would say is please vote. Your vote is your voice, and if you don't exercise that vote, then you're not allowing yourself to be heard, and your voice and your vote matter. So please vote. But let me be clear. I'm not going to tell you who I think you should vote for. The company does not have a view on who you should vote for. You should cast your vote based on your personal priorities and your personal values. But from a company perspective, we operate in a very complicated policy and regulatory environment. We're regulated by agencies at the federal level. There are laws that are passed by Congress at the federal level. We're regulated by state agencies, and we're affected by laws that are passed at the states. And in many places, we're regulated at the local level. And we're affected by so many different policies. So we have always operated in a way that doesn't position the company as aligned with one party or the other, or one candidate or the other, but rather have worked with people on both sides of the aisle all the way across the political spectrum. And we will continue to do that. We're not going to place our bets on one candidate or another. Rather, we're going to make sure that whatever happens coming after Election Day, we're positioned to work with policymakers across the aisle. So whether you vote by mail early or you vote on Election Day, please make sure that you make your voice heard and you get out there and vote, but don't worry about Verizon. Whatever happens on Election Day, we will continue to execute on our strategy. We'll continue to compete and win no matter who the policymakers are in office coming into 2021. So Ollie, thanks for the question. Andy, thanks for the question, and back to you.
Greg, thank you very much. And obviously, this is an election that a lot of us are thinking about, but really thank you for creating the environment where we can share that kind of thought and discussion in a meaningful way. So, Craig, thank you very much. We've got a question here for Rose, and this is from Stephen in Hanover, Maryland. Stephen, if you can join us and if you can see me, go ahead and ask your question for Rose.
Yeah, thanks, Andy. And thanks, Rose, for taking my question. As Hans mentioned earlier, we've seen how Verizon has really shown up in a big way for employees and customers and the community around us. So I'm interested to hear, what does 5G mean for our strategies around responsible business and social responsibility?
Yeah. So hi, everybody. Thank you so much for that question. That's a great question. If you think about the opportunity, Stephen, for 5G and social responsibility, it's really about how do we humanize our technology and demonstrate that it can solve really big societal issues. And when you do that, you open us up to not only being sort of first to market in that space, but you also really open up the opportunity for new customers. So what are we doing about that? In the education sector, we will continue to put 5G in our Verizon Innovative Learning Schools. We have been doing that actually for a number of years. Now we get to be more aggressive with how we do that, with building 5G labs, with actually creating 5G entrepreneurs. Because once you put 5G in education, you need to create applications that actually can run on that 5G. And we've been doing that and creating sort of new business models and new opportunities. But we also see an opportunity to go beyond just putting 5G in labs in schools, but to have end-to-end 5G schools now that we are nationwide. So my team is beginning to focus on that. We also are looking at the communities where we have 5G and doing some community-based work where we're putting 5G in recreation centers and libraries, other community locations, to enable the citizens there, particularly vulnerable populations, to have access to this great technology, and they can use it for healthcare, to look for jobs, for entrepreneurship, to learn how to apply this technology to very critical needs in their lives. And we are actually going to launch this solution, this 5G community build out in Portland and Houston, Cleveland, and Pittsburgh. And then we are building one of the best in class 5G online labs, or really next technology online curriculum that will allow educators and teachers and parents to have access to some of the most technology rich education. We'll center a lot of that in 5G. We're doing 5G and small business accelerators. We are working on some climate resilience technology with Kyle's team that will have 5G, enabling us to look at technology solutions, climate related and vulnerable populations. And then finally, we're thinking a lot about the population that is disabled. And how do we build solutions leveraging 5G that can actually use AR and VR and meet the needs of individuals who have accessibility needs? So we're thinking about this very broad, and we know that 5G is a huge enabler, and I'm excited about the work that we're doing to demonstrate that we'll be first in class. And then before I wrap up, let me just say one thing. One of the things that I always appreciate about this forum is the ability to learn more about what the business is doing. And then I always learn new words. So Ronan, thanks to you, I now have a new word that I will be using, which is visibility, I think, or something like that. Physical and
Phygital
or something. So I now have a new word that I'll be applying to my work as well. So always good learning. Thanks, Andy. Back over to you.
Rose, thank you very much. And yes, I love that word too. Phygital. Yes. So thank you again to all of our question panelists there, and of course our leaders for the wonderful answers and the insight into our business. Before we get to Hans for a final thought here, we are Diego's holding up a little sign that says Phygital. But Rose, you mentioned something important here, and that is learning new words. And I know that a lot of folks saw our promotion for this webcast and saying that you can watch and win. So with that, let's put up the slide here. Yes, we are giving away 10 Galaxy Note 20s 5Gs. So take the 3Q results Up to Speed Live survey, and then when you take that survey, you're going to be asked for a keyword. You're going to identify yourself, and that word is one of Hans's favorite words, fantastic. So let's go ahead and show that fantastic lower third there. And so give us the word fantastic, and you'll be entered to win that phone. So with that in mind, Hans, I know that's a fantastic word that you enjoy, but I think the two words that I'm thinking we should talk about right now is dinner and table. So with that, we'll send it back over to you.
Fantastic. Okay, thank you. This has been a really rich Up to Speed with so many good questions and so much we have done. And I just want to end up, it's hard to make a summary for a dinner or a friend conversation. I would this quarter say, take a long walk, because now we're talking about a lot of things to talk about. And the long walk should start by discussing our focus on the 4 stakeholders in this time. I mean, we ended with Rose, we had Matt in there, we talked about our customers and our business unit leaders, and of course we talk about our employees that are foremost important when it comes to safety and health and what all you're doing. So talk about our focus on that, that's important. Then I think you should talk about the super execution we have done in the third quarter with everything we have done in such a short period, and it's straight up in our strategy, and we actually are executing from a position of strength. That's the second one. And the third one is so important, is of course talk about 5G. And here you might need to go inside to show a couple of clips of what's happening with Apple and all of that. But if you don't do, you can talk about our ultra wideband, our nationwide, the devices, the ecosystem, our partnership. It's a lot to talk about. I think it's plenty there for a long, long walk. Might not be enough for a dinner. But anyhow, I hope you're equally excited as I am and the team for where we are and what we have done as a team during the third quarter. Now we're already into the fourth quarter, so we continue to execute, and I'm looking forward to come back on the fourth quarter, but also looking forward to come back and talking about our targets and our execution for 2021, as we always do in the beginning of the year, and which we did in 2020, but we didn't know what's going to happen with all this pandemic, economical downturn, and racial injustice. But let's see how it looks when we're going to meet in the beginning of next year. So that's all from me, Andy, and thanks to all my colleagues and to the panel and all the V-teamers.
Hans, thank you very much. And yes, after that dinner, you go for that nice long walk, and you could talk all about everything we shared today. It's fantastic sharing this moment with you and all of our leaders. Just a quick reminder again. So the word is fantastic, and a lot of you are posting fantastic on the chat here. But what's going to happen is you will get an email with the survey link. So take that survey, let us know how we did here. And then at the very bottom there, you're going to need to write the word fantastic in the survey to be entered for that free phone. So with that, we'd like to close and let folks know, hey, thank you so much for joining us. This has been a fantastic way to learn about the third quarter. And look, we've got about 70 days left for 2020, and we can finish strong here. One of the things I wanted to just end with today is a video and really kind of think about some of the challenges you've had in front of you in 2020, whether it was professional or personal, the challenges that you and your team have discussed, and then think about all the ways that you've met that challenge and exceeded that challenge. And the hope is that all of us can be proud of what we've done so far and what we will continue to do in the fourth quarter here. So with that, we will leave you with a video that will get you thinking, that will get you feeling proud and truly grateful to be a part of this company. And that gratitude, of course, extends from me to you. As we say, until next time, you're up to speed. Take a look at this video. We'll see you back here next time.
Right here in New York, thousands of people are self-quarantining.
The number of cases soaring just today.
Projections by top economists remain grim.
Another 1.3 million Americans applied for first-time unemployment benefits.
Americans in 140 cities this weekend protested in outrage and grief.
Connecting with people, we're offering them solutions.
Customers can do what they need to do whenever they need to do it.
Our Black employees to know that they matter and they are valued.